September 1980, United States, Arkansas. Deep underground, inside a reinforced launch silo, stood one of the most powerful nuclear missiles America had ever built, Titan II. A 30-meter monster carrying a thermonuclear warhead powerful enough to erase a massive city like New York or Moscow. During a routine maintenance procedure, one technician accidentally lost grip of a heavy metal socket. It fell down the side of the missile. A second later, it ricocheted off a metal platform and slammed into the missile's thin fuel tank. Within moments, toxic rocket fuel began leaking into the underground silo.
Now, nobody knew if this accident would end with a conventional explosion or a nuclear catastrophe. Watch this video until the end, and you'll see how close the United States came to one of the most terrifying accidents of the Cold War.
The Titan II was not an ordinary missile. It was built during the most paranoid years of the Cold War, when both the United States and the Soviet Union believed nuclear war could begin at any moment. Entire missile complexes were hidden underground, ready to launch within minutes. The idea was simple. Even if America was attacked first, Titan II missiles would survive long enough to strike back. Each missile carried a thermonuclear warhead far more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. But the warhead itself was not the only danger. Titan II used hypergolic fuel, chemicals so volatile that they ignited instantly when mixed together. The system allowed rapid launch capability, but it also turned every silo into a giant underground chemical bomb. And now, one of those bombs was leaking. At first, the maintenance crew hoped the damage was minor, but the smell inside the silo quickly became impossible to ignore. The leaking oxidizer produced toxic orange vapor that slowly filled the underground structure. Pressure readings began changing. Warning systems activated. Within minutes, military personnel realized this was no longer a maintenance accident.
Emergency teams rushed into the control areas above the silo. Phone lines opened between officers, engineers, and Strategic Air Command headquarters. Nobody had a clear procedure for a disaster like this. The Titan II system had been designed to survive nuclear war. It had never been designed for something this absurd. One dropped tool, that was all it took.
As the hours passed, the situation became increasingly unstable. Toxic fuel continued spreading through the silo. Some personnel began experiencing breathing problems almost immediately. Others worried about something far worse: the warhead. Nobody truly knew what would happen if the missile exploded inside the silo. The nuclear device had multiple safety systems, but the situation unfolding underground was unlike anything engineers had anticipated. Even experienced officers struggled to answer the same terrifying question: could the explosion trigger the warhead?
Outside the complex, life continued normally. Families watched television. Cars moved through quiet Arkansas roads. Almost nobody knew that beneath the ground, one of America's nuclear missiles was slowly becoming unstable. Inside the complex, panic was growing. Some commanders argued the silo should be abandoned immediately. Others believed the missile might still be saved. Strategic Air Command feared losing one of its most important nuclear weapons, and every additional hour increased the danger.
But here was the real nightmare. Nobody could stop the leak. The fuel was still escaping from the punctured tank. Pressure inside the missile continued changing. Military teams were trapped between two terrible choices: do nothing and wait for the situation to worsen, or send people back underground. They chose the second option.
A small emergency team descended into the silo wearing protective masks and carrying portable gas detectors. The deeper they moved underground, the thicker the toxic vapor became. Nobody had fixed anything. Nothing had improved. And now commanders understood the situation might already be beyond control. The missile's internal pressure continued rising. Fuel concentrations inside the silo were becoming critical. Military personnel above ground began discussing evacuation plans. If the missile exploded, debris could be launched thousands of feet into the air. Nobody knew how large the blast might become. And there was another problem. The Damascus complex was not isolated wilderness. Nearby communities surrounded the area.
Roads, homes, farms, and small towns sat within range of a potential disaster.
By early morning, exhaustion was spreading through the crews. For hours, they had been operating under extreme pressure, knowing a single mistake could make the situation catastrophic. Some personnel believed the missile could explode at any moment. Others hoped the silo might somehow stabilize. Nobody truly knew which prediction was correct.
And then, everything became worse. A massive explosion tore through the Damascus missile complex. The force was so violent that the 740-ton silo door was blown away. The Titan II missile was destroyed. The entire underground complex was devastated within seconds. One Air Force member was killed. Several others were injured. Emergency crews rushed toward the burning wreckage, while debris continued falling around the site. And somewhere in the chaos was the object everyone feared most: the nuclear warhead.
Then came the unbelievable discovery. The warhead had been thrown completely out of the silo by the explosion, but it had not detonated. Despite the fireball, the destruction, and the violent blast, the nuclear safety systems had worked. Later investigations revealed just how fragile the situation had become. One dropped socket had triggered an accident powerful enough to destroy an entire missile complex. And perhaps the most unsettling part of the story was this: the world almost never heard about it.
There was no nationwide panic, no public countdown, no breaking television coverage during the night of the accident. While ordinary Americans slept, military crews underground spent hours fighting to prevent one of the most dangerous accidents in Cold War history. The Damascus explosion became a reminder of something terrifying, because in the end, one of America's most advanced nuclear weapons nearly destroyed itself. Not because of war, not because of sabotage, but because one technician accidentally dropped a tool. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more hidden military disasters, forgotten Cold War stories, and dangerous systems that nearly changed history forever.